All right, welcome back to the channel where Radical Bros Gaming as always, and I'm gonna beat up eggs.
Yeah. Gonna look through and see if there's any better moves I can have on my guys. Doesn't look like it at the moment. You can teach via TM. Ooh, close combat. Real nice. Yeah, that might get me out of a pinch. Be good. Anyone else have a move?
Get some levels on my Mon so that I can take on the Elite Four soon as well.
Hate the move Wild Charge, but it's just gonna be so much better.
It just does a lot of damage to yourself.
Yeah. Alright, let's fight the baby.
Okay.
It's a key.
Earthquake, finally! It's learning something really good. Took you forever to learn good moves there, buddy. Salt Cure is kind of niche.
So good.
It's good?
Real good.
Against
Just
steel and water types?
And anything that's gonna do chunk of health every time is pretty decent.
Yeah, I guess I could drop Iron Defense. Just be a slapping bully with its Earthquake. Yeah, okay. Iron Defense, you can go away. Jaw Lock? What the fuck is that? What are you? Oh, that's actually pretty interesting. It's Crunch, but it stops anyone from changing. Like, you can't switch either of the Pokemon out.
Yeah, because you're chomping on them.
You're locked on. I don't want that, though. Oh, yeah. The whole Pokemon Unite situation was blowing up on Twitter, too, because a lot of the streamers were upset about... Okay, so backstory, if you all don't know what I'm talking about. They released an extremely broken form of Zacian. To the point where even if there wasn't bugs in his code that made him do crazy stuff, he would still be completely overtuned, which he is right now. But a lot of the people were streamers and YouTubers and people who play the game as their job were saying that it is unconscionable, unreasonable for you to play that Pokemon while it's bugged. And there was a discourse about whether that's true or like whether it matters, because there's always going to be bugged things that people exploit. And I'm like, yeah, but if you know that it's bugged and it's ruining the game for everyone else, you shouldn't play it. Just because you spent money on it. Well, first of all, don't spend $20 on a Pokemon to play with.
True.
But if you do, and it's cracked and bugged, you should probably wait to play it until they fix it.
Yeah, but also they shouldn't put it out in that state.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
I'd say I'm always on the don't blame the people playing the game. Blame the people that are putting these things into the game. Gamers don't make exploits, they just find them in the game. But it was put in the game. Like, the bug is in the game. Shouldn't be. But is that the player's fault for using it? I don't think so.
But once they know it's the thing, and it literally makes the game unplayable for most people. If your team has a Zacian and the other team has a Zacian and you didn't, you couldn't. You barely could win. Like, there was no chance of you winning that match.
Then you just need to also have Zacian.
but it was paywall only. Like you had to pay for it at that point. You couldn't get it without buying it.
Well, then I call that very
Bullshit.
bad game.
Yeah.
Like the people who made the game are the problem, not the
Well,
gamers.
they made the game, and I should probably pick this move. They made the game. I'll get rid of Draining Kiss. I don't mind them overtuning new Pokemon when they come out so that it's fun to use them and so that people are excited to use the new shiny new things. It should be slightly overtuned. I get that. But it was overtuned and then also it was bugged, which I guess since they didn't put it in the test server because it is going to be a free Pokemon. I don't know why they didn't. It's like an event Pokemon. I don't know why they didn't put in the test server, but if they had, they would have seen this bug quickly,
Yeah.
and then they could have patched it.
It all
right away.
sounds
They could have
like
fixed
it's
it.
exclusively the problem of the people who made the game. That's what I'm hearing.
Right, but in any other thing on the planet, if someone's exploiting something, people are really quick to say, yeah, they shouldn't do that. But when it comes to video games, if you're exploiting something that was an oversight, people are like, yeah, it's fine, just play it. It doesn't matter, even though it's ruining the game for everyone else. So I see both sides of it. Like, don't hate the player, hate the game. I get that, but also,
Well, I'm still more on the fact of it. It puts it into the hands of the people making the game to fix the problem.
yeah,
And it's not the player's problem to not play the game. Like, if there's a glaring issue in a game, the Pokemon should be taken out of the game for the time being, and the bug should be fixed, and everything should be addressed. But
then
instead,
people will complain about the fact that they paid for it and now they can't use it because it's taken out of the game to be fixed. So what's the solution?
put it on the test server.
Right. But they did it already.
Well, then they get to either give refunds, or people are like, hey, tough, you paid for it, it is what it is. I'm not saying
Yeah.
there's a good solution. I'm just saying it's not the player's fault for doing that. All they did was they're like, oh, I want to play this Pokemon. Oh, it costs money. Well, I have a job, I'll spend my money. Oh, I have the Pokemon. Oh, it's really strong. That's fun. I see nothing wrong in anything that person did.
Right. But it was more directed toward like people using the exploit to climb the ladder, and especially using it with another Pokemon called Comfy that can just
Yeah.
be on it and you literally cannot lose. But it was more like the discussion was random people who bought it don't even know that it's bugged, but the people who are in the know, who are looking at all the stuff and looking at all the math, shouldn't be playing this. Like, none of the streamers should be playing this Pokemon and just wrecking everyone with it.
Yeah.
That was the discussion. I was like, yeah, I see that. I think it's really annoying, and they should have taken it off. Yeah, well, they should have put it on the test server first, and then they should have taken it out of the game while it was cracked. But it's quote unquote fixed now, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so if anyone thinks, has an opinion about whether or not you should play broken or exploit bugs in competitive games, like if you're exploiting bugs in games that are not PvP, obviously there's no issue with that.
Well, are they exploiting it in the esports circle?
No, all new Mon are banned for a certain amount of time until they are, like, for March you could not use Zacian for the March qualifiers. I think you could use Comfy because it was old enough, but for a February tournament they couldn't use Comfy.
So then, since, I don't know, I'm still just on the don't put out something broken if you don't want it to be exploited.
But what about oversight? Like, they can't they should have caught this one, but you can't catch every bug. But as soon as the community is telling you that it's bugged, you should get on that. And Timmy did not try and do that at all.
Right. So it's their fault for not trying to do it.
Oh, it's 100% their fault. But at the same time, I wouldn't feel good playing that Pokemon and just wrecking these little kids' dreams of playing the game.
Nah, fuck them kids.
Agreed. But it's like, I don't know. Imagine you went to an 8th grade basketball game and there's like, you know what? We can let this college player play. We can let this NBA player play. It's just for fun. It's just a game. And they're just straight up dunking on.
That would be hilarious.
For a
and
moment.
have my full support. Whoever's idea it was to do that, they are solely to blame. Not the NBA's player that he was asked to do that.
But he shouldn't agree.
Why?
Because it's unconscionable. It's unreasonable to do that.
I don't think it's unreasonable.
For him to put every fucking 14-year-old on a poster and just wreck them.
The game's the game, man.
But yeah, so that was a huge thing on Twitter. And since I'm kind of sewn into that, the algorithm knows that I play Unite and that I talk about it and then I watch it. And so I was in arguments about it and I see both sides. I wish that there was a good solution of, hey, obviously the easy thing to say is don't make broken games. Don't just take more time and do what you're supposed to do. But that ain't the case, as we've seen time and time and time and time again.
Yeah. But why isn't it so people are so outraged by something, they should not partake in that thing at all.
Yeah. Which I didn't. I haven't picked up that game in why are you here? I'm stupid get out of here. You haven't booted up that game since that happened, just for that reason alone. But a lot of the streamers like Spraggles was like, once I found out about this bug, I'm just not going to play this Pokemon because it just doesn't feel good to do that.
Yeah, and that's his choice to have that integrity, but pushing that choice on other people, changing what the quote unquote moral thing to do when it's playing a video game for fun, like that's what I don't agree with. Like, you can play a video game however you want. I don't care.
Even if you can only get it by paying real money for it. That's where I draw the line, because I mean, think about this. You're 12 and you just want to play this game for fun, even though you're playing in ranked, you don't really understand what's happening. There is an adult whale who spent $20 real that you cannot spend to buy this Pokemon, and just every time you walk near it, it slaughters you. That's got to be a terrible feeling, right?
Yeah. The people who made the game need to address that.
Yeah, I think...
Or the community needs to be like, man, these game designers are terrible humans, and we need to stop supporting this game 100%.
Yeah, that will
because
never
again,
happen.
as long as they're making money, nothing matters. They can put a bug in the game. It doesn't matter. Like the game we're playing right now came out with ridiculous amount of bugs and everything's broken. We're playing it.
Right, but it doesn't affect other people's ability to play the game if we're playing it. That's where my mind goes, is like, if the bug makes it so only some people can play the game against others, it just is unfair, and I don't like that. I don't like it being unfair. And I know nothing is fair, but you know what should be fair? Games, of all things, should be as close to fair as possible.
I don't know how I'm gonna beat this dragon guy.
Nah, that's why I'm getting myself a very strong final gambit. Get out of here.
We have Dazzling Gleam. That may be a way to go.
Let's see. She's 42. It's taken a little longer than I thought, but at least we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I agree with you on a basic level. Like, it's clearly the developer's fault and they need to eat a dick. But once it gets through, there has to be some other way to go about it and be like, listen, guys, we got to agree to not play this Pokemon and beat up on these kids. Like,
I just feel like that should just never go into the... It should never be a situation in which a person playing a video game should have to switch the way that change the way that they're playing the game to suit other people. If it's something that can be exploited, it shouldn't be in the game. So if it's in the game, it's fair play. Like, I'm playing this game, if I want to use healing items,
yeah,
it is what it is.
But that's not a bug.
Right, but I'm just saying using anything to do anything. Like, if it's in the game, either it should or should not be. If it's a bug, it should be fixed by the people making it. If it's not a bug, then it should not be in the game if it's exploitable.
What about things like Magic the Gathering errata and like where they can't foresee these combinations of things happening because they can't possibly test that much?
Well, then that's when you have people that showed up to the Magic the Gathering tournaments with 2,000 card decks to straight show them, hey, this is broken, and then they finally fix it. That's what happens. Like, shit gets out of proportion, and then either the company crumbles or they fix it.
Yeah.
So I am all for it. People playing however they want to play. If they want to use a bug, knowing it's a bug, it's in the game. Like,
so what about like when we were kids and we would go to Toys R Us to play Pokemon cards, and adults would come in with their crazy paid for decks and just stomp children at the game and then like trick them into trying to take their cards and shit. That's essentially what's happening, or what did happen in Pokemon Unite with that broken release. And that's just not okay. It's not the designers of the cards
see any correlation between those two things.
Why not? It's the same thing. They paid for a better deck. They paid for better cards.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then use them to play against, as adults, to beat children at the game.
Yeah, that part's fine. I just don't know about taking someone else's cards. What that has to do with anything?
Oh, I mean, that just happened in general.
Yeah, that is just a thing that happened, but I don't see it correlating with this.
I mean, that part specifically
discussion
doesn't have anything to do with the Pokemon Unite, but it's a similar situation where someone is paying to win this game against children. And
yeah, if that's what you have to do in life to make you feel good, then it's your life, man. If you need to beat kids in a fictional game, like, okay, man. It is what it is. Like, I'm not gonna tell someone how to enjoy their life.
Oh, I will tell people how to enjoy their life.
If I've been looking into starting to play competitive Pokemon on this. I don't know who I'm going to go up against. I'll probably go up against 5-year-olds at some point and just annihilate them.
Yeah, but you won't be doing that by only purchasing better Pokemon than they have. they have the same tools.
So let's say theoretically, once the DLC comes out, once you can do stuff with Pokemon Arceus and all this, the Hisuian versions of something is probably just going to be a lot better. I have to own that game. Theoretically, someone could trade me it. I could get lucky and get it. There are other ways to get it technically, but the actual way to get said Pokemon would be to purchase Pokemon Arceus, get the Pokemon, and trade it in. So if I go into competitive using a Hisuian version, is that bad?
No, because everyone can. It's a slightly different thing when it's...
Everyone can get Zacian, though. You just have to unlock him in a weird way.
Right. That's why it's different. To me, in my mind, is that since he is behind a paywall that isn't just part of... Since it's the structure of, like, pay for each Pokemon, it's a little different than you bought this whole game and you have the ability to play this whole game, and it just happens that you can get certain Pokemon in the game. That seems different to me than... This one Pokemon's behind a paywall. So if it were the case that when you bought this DLC and you only could get the strongest Pokemon by paying extra through a paywall, that would be the same thing to me. And that's a bad move. Like, you shouldn't do that just to win the game.
It's called a pay-to-win game. And they've been
not a good
out
thing.
For decades. And people have shit on them. It's Pokemon Unite. At its core is a pay-to-win game. And if you have an issue with that, then either you need to stop playing it or just kind of accept that it is at its core a pay-to-win game. There are things that you can get that other people cannot get, or at least not get as easily without spending money.
Right.
If money gives you an actual advantage in a game, it is a pay-to-win game, regardless of how big the advantage or anything like that.
But there have been, people have tested that it isn't really paid. Like, you can play the game well and win the game without paying any money at all.
Correct.
But you
can. Like most pay-to-win games.
But you can buy a Pokemon that's behind a $20 paywall. And then, in addition to it being good, it was bugged. So the ethics were bad from the beginning, right? And then it was even worse. And then people are like, yeah, it's fine. Just let them play it. They bought it. And I'm like, okay, I get that. I would be wanting to play it if I spent $20 on it too, but I never would spend $20 on a Pokemon because that's not the type of person that I am.
I think you're getting too much into the weeds of with which ethics should be correct here.
It's a game.
I'm saying that the ethics of the company should be at fault here, not the ethics of the people, like other people play, like the people playing it. I don't see them at fault. It's the company itself.
But they have no responsibility. The consumers have no responsibility at all.
Not if I am able to go on right now, pay money for it. If everything is in the game, then I think that they have no fault. I'm getting my ass blasted, by the way, by this Hexorus.
I don't doubt that.
He is annihilating me.
Dazzling Gleam. Nope. Why would I keep Dazzling Gleam if Moonblast is a thing? What is the point? Why are there multiple? Moonblast has more power points, higher damage, same accuracy. Why just have only one? All right, get out of here, Dazzling Gleam. I fully agree that the devs should, like, the owners, there shouldn't be pay to win games at all. But still was annoying to see people exploiting it like that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's annoying, and definitely I can foresee that it's not a fun thing to be on the receiving end of, but at the end of the day, it's a thing that's in the game. And that's where I'm like, it is what it is. I've played so many, like, quote unquote competitive games in my life, like PvP, all that. And it is what it is. Sometimes there's Pokemon or there's champions or there's this and that you're like, man, this thing is ridiculous. And some of the better companies would like make sure that thing was taken care of once a bug was found, and they're like, oh, such and such is not available right now, we got to fix it, or like do something. But instead it's just kind of like, yeah, pay us $20.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's like, that's the company's problem.
I do feel like it's the company's problem, but at some point consumers have a responsibility too.
Yeah, I'd say their responsibility is to just not play the game. Like they
Ooh, what's happening here?
Do they stand up with their money. It's just simple like that. Like if their player base went from 50 million people to 12 million people in a week, they'd be like, oh, hold on, that's what's going on there.
Yeah. Or if they had to issue refunds for all the people that bought the bugged Pokemon, they probably would think about it a little harder. But that wasn't happening, and people were still just like, all right, well, fuck it, we'll just do it. And again, yeah, I agree, you're right, it's the developer's fault. But I wouldn't do it, and it bothers me that other people would. And it bothered a lot of people.
I can wholeheartedly agree that it would bother me, but I'm not putting anyone at fault by that. That's my own. That is what I'm putting into it. I'm reacting to something. It doesn't mean that what someone else is doing is bad. It's the way I react to it. They're not responsible for the way that I get mad about it. They're just playing their video game. Like, I can be mad about it all I want, but at the end of the day, they're just playing their video game. And I'm just like angry at them, but really I'm angry at the company for letting this happen, not for them for using it.
Yeah, I still think there's a difference between someone who's just playing the game because they're playing it and someone who's like, oh, I saw that this Pokemon is bugged and that it's easy to climb the ladder, so I'm going to grab my friend who's going to play this support Pokemon and we're going to not be able to lose for 4 days because I spent money on this Pokemon. Like, there's a difference to me when it comes to that. Like, it's unconscionable to do that.
Yeah, it's not.
And I can't. And I'll always argue that, and I'll tell people on Twitter that they're idiots for doing so, which is what I did. And everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I told them that they're fucking dum-dums for doing that.
I lost to this dragon guy.
Yeah, that's why I'm grinding up a little bit on these chances.
I was prolonging it as long as I could with some revives, but I just couldn't get a good pivot.
Well, I got my Ralts to level 51, so I should be able to fight the fighting right now, or next time, because we're at a good spot here, pretty close. I'm gonna fly over there though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see, and healthy discussion is important too, because there aren't that many people that would be able to have a discussion and have some points that they agree with, or mostly, and then some points they disagree with, and have a conversation about it, and it not be an issue. But that was the thing; people were having a Twitter fight.
Twitter conversations they're not even conversations; they're just people shouting into the wind.
Yeah, I dive into those.
Nothing matters. Like they'll just say the most dumb, unhinged things, and then someone will agree and then someone will disagree, and I'm like, all three of you are idiots. Like, whoever said it's wrong, whoever agrees is wrong, and whoever disagrees is also wrong. You're all three wrong, which is very impossible, but you did it.
It's right. They are right. Yeah. So I want to go ahead and switch my Pokemon up and get them ready. Oh no, not there, not you. But yeah. If you found, any of you at home have found that you have a strong opinion about something, you know what? Maybe I've learned to just keep it to yourself. It's just a game. Yeah. So I'm gonna go on take on this fighting base next time, And yeah, cool.
Yeah, hopefully I can beat the Elite Four next time, but we'll see. Got
My
nothing for
levels
that
are
dragon.
yeah, I got the dragon killers on my team, so I think I'll be fine there. But I cannot fight. What am I missing here? I think I'm pretty well covered now that I got the Gardevoir.
Yeah, Gardevoir is good.
Psychic Fairy is a pretty good typing for.
Very good for that fighting, Jim.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening to my ranting and conversation. And if you've got something to say, you can say it in the comments, and that'll be great too. So yeah, hit all the buttons, do all the YouTube things for us. We're trying to grow our channel still, and we appreciate everything you do. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.